So I imagine all of you like magic, right? Yes? I love it. I really like to see magicians make things disappear, things appear, things levitate. Unfortunately, I'm not a magician. Sorry about that. I'm just a designer who love to make things, and somehow these things, some of them are related with the same effects that magicians try to do, as transformation or levitation. So I would like to share some of them with you today. So it's just before lunch, so I prepare a kind of like menu of ideas for you. So we have some tapas that they are going to be like 18 different ideas or little projects, just to give you a little taste of them, related with different impossibles, and one main dish that is the water blood that we were talking before. So when I was younger, I really want to predict when my parents were coming home. So I installed this in the door. So it's a bicycle horn in the handle. So every time someone entered the room, it was sounding. So it was a way to know in the future what's going to happen. I like to transform things as well. So one of the most ugly things I find normally is these cigarette butts that people throw on the floor in the cities. So how to transform this into something that smells bad, looks bad, into something nice is just simply just putting a little seed of a specific flower on the filter. So when it drains, it germinates and converts something that is ugly into something beautiful. I study architecture, and I try to do as well some kind of like invisible buildings. So this is called the Calippo house. So it's like the ice cream. It goes up and down. And I don't know, this is the section. Do you realize that the top of the building is the same kind of like grass as the surroundings? So it's just an elevator that goes up and down. So when you are not in the house, no one could see the house. When you need to use you just have a control remote, the house come up, and you just have 2 rooms. One for more private things like bathroom, and one for cooking and studying. This is, well, some of the development process of, we meet some of the parts, but I was really as well obsessed on how to make buildings and structures appear and disappear. So this was some of the exploration with science, with a system of scissors. That you could make things appear. So the idea, this is one of the small prototypes. I make some bigger ones, but the main idea was to make a building of 15 storage high that you can put in 3 hours. So, and not only put it there, but as well remove it, because in Spain we have this problem now that we have over 4 million houses empty. So you just can put the buildings when you need it, and when you don't need it anymore, just take it away. So it could be a good idea. Or in a smaller scale, I did as well this idea with the same system. Well, you can get the point. It was a building to put in the roundabouts, these kind of spaces that normally are invisible to us. So I had the fortune to kind of like travel a bit, making more of these structures that open and close. So this is a dome in India. This is the same system, but in a smaller scale in Turkey with kids. They make snakes that suddenly appear and disappear. This is another workshop dealing with something different. This is a transformation, how to transform garbage into a building. So these are plastic bags that just you need people and some air. You can just stitch it together, blow something inside, and you have a nice space. Quite similar, there was a kind of like a IKEA competition. They were asking for the cheapest house that you can make. They gave us, I think, a budget of £1,000. I think we spent like 20 just in plastic bags and inflate them. This is the same in India. This is a dome made of paper and staples. Just make it quite easily in 2 hours. This is a failure. We would try to kind of like cross a lake in Sweden with a kind of like iceberg, but it didn't work. But sometimes mistakes are nice as well. This is another transformation. It's how to transform plastic bottles into a building. So it's a project called the Bevere. And as you can see, what we do is we put all these bottles in a big bag, and instead of inflating the bag, we suck the air out. So it becomes a rigid structure. So we have done this experience of collecting bottles in different cities. So this one was in Venice. This is how it looks later, like all the bottles are sucked in, and the bottles work structurally quite well. This is in Paris. This is in Poland. And this is the last one. The good thing about this building is when you don't like the shape anymore, you just open the valve, reshape it, suck the air again, and you have a new building completely different. So it's again a different kind of transformation. This is a chair that is the same chair that goes thinner or thicker, depends how thick or thin you are. So it takes less or more space. This is a bit disgusting, but like in Spain, in the university, a lot of people use chewing gums to put under the chairs. So actually, there is a way of like hardening chewing gums, so you can use actually the chair made of chewing gums. Or in Spain, we eat a lot of seeds while watching soccer, for example. So what if you can transform this kind of like garbage into furniture? So this is a lamp made with this. Yeah, this is playing a bit with the perceptions and scale. This is a chair made of 100 little chairs, so you can sit on it. And other things that magicians do is animating things. So if you think in the suitcase, it's a quite a stupid object, right? It's just a box. It was like Louis Vuitton invented, and then Samsonite make it hard in the 1910. And in the 70s, they have this kind of like wonderful idea of putting it wheels. But it's like an innovation, but like I think we need to the next step, that is animate these wheels and make them move. So I create this suitcase. It's called Hop. And what it does, it follows the user. So basically, it has 3 sensors embedded. And it tracks the Bluetooth signal of your cell phone, the strength of them. So it localizes where your cell phone is, and it goes after it. It could help the users on the airport when they have a lot of suitcases, but as well it could help a lot of people who handles the suitcase on the airport. Like normally to handle suitcase, it takes almost half of the space in airports, and a lot of people working on that. This is my bike in London. It looks like a normal bike. Oh, we miss how you fall. Well, it looks like a normal bike, but actually you can just open and close. So you can see there. And you just ride on it, because foldable bikes normally are quite, they have small wheels and they're quite expensive. This is a transformation that you can do in almost every bike. And as well, have another feature is that when you ride a bike, you normally cannot wear headphones, so you cannot listen to music because you need to listen to the cars. But there is another way of listening to sound that is through this invisible way of listening to sound. It's through bone conduction. So actually, what you have here is a transducer. It's a kind of vibration motor that transmits the same kind of like waves into your spine, and then you can hear the music through your butt. This is a little trick, if we want to say it like that. It's as well animation. It's a ball that you can control with your iPhone. So you can see here some kids quite annoyed with them. But it could help as well kids to go out, and instead of like being in front of the computer, they can kind of like play in the park a video game, or playing against Cristiano Ronaldo in real life, or playing with a friend that is not there. So you can change the trajectory, you see. So now he kicks it, and then he comes back to him. Well, or I think I have this one here. So mops, I don't know where you store your mop, right? Because mops are these kind of things that normally takes a lot of space. Normally people put it in cupboards or under the door, or what if you can kind of like make a mop appear and disappear. So this kind of like stand on the bucket, and when you need it, you just throw it on there. Normally you have to do click, click. I think it did it. And it's quite rigid. And then you can fold it again. And this is quite similar to Kieran's concept. It's like rethinking a car, how to make it invisible, because most of the time cars that are private space are in public space, and it doesn't offer anything to the pedestrian or to the citizen. So it's how to combine a street furniture and a car, so you can use the car when it's parked, that is most of the times. So it's the bench car, so it's a car that is a bench. So when it's not in use, you can use it, even you can use the lights or the music that is on the car, and when you use it, you just use it as a car. So that's the appetizer, that's the tapas. Now we are going with the main dish, that is Ooho, the water blob. So I'm quite sure you are all familiar with this object, right? It's a PET plastic bottle. We use it a lot, in some countries more than in others. But probably what you don't know is that it takes 700 years to decompose. 80% of them are not recycled. And the ones that get recycled, they don't get recycled into plastic bottles. It takes a lot of energy to clean them and to process them, to melt them again. And normally it's a product that has less value, what is called downcycle. And it represents the 90% of the cost when you buy water, just the packaging. So normally it's water what you're buying, so what you are buying is the bottle or the brand. And this is a fact that really shocked me when I knew it. It's like to manufacture 1 bottle of 1 liter of water, you need 7 liters of water. So when you're drinking just 1 sip, it's not, you are not drinking 1 sip, you are drinking much more. And up to 1 glass full of oil every time you use this. So in order to vanish, kind of like to make disappear this object, we try to come up with other solutions. And we come up, well, as well there is this problem of like, when you are not using this, where this goes, and we wanted to make it disappear again. So we come up with this, it's a water blob, we call it Ooho. So it's a membrane that encapsulates water in the same way that nature does. So nature uses membranes because it works quite well in traction, so you need really few materials. And if you see fruits, or even if you see in the cells, most of the liquids are encapsulated in membranes. This membrane is made of an alginate, so it's extract from a brown algae, and calcium. When these 2 components mix together, it creates a gel. And this is a technique that we didn't invent. It's called espherification, and it was discovered in the 50s, especially to make fake caviar. And, but no one has thought of it. Well, and lately, a Spanish chef called Ferran Adrià, that he had this famous restaurant called El Bulli, brought it into the culinary high cuisine to make really sophisticated dishes. But no one has thought of it to use it as packaging, because we thought it could be quite simple, it's extremely cheap, it's biodegradable, and you can eat it if you want it. So it's something looks like this. You can grow the membrane thicker or thinner if you want it more or less resistant. Some users testing it. It has some challenge ahead. For example, once you open the membrane, you cannot close it back. So how we are trying to solve this is trying to make little zip-size Oohos inside of a bigger membrane that probably doesn't have to be eatable, but it could be made of alginate as well, like the same way as orange does. So this is a bit the vision, what we are trying to pursue. This is one of the small Oohos. This is one of the big ones that contain 5 of them. We are working now to try to make them double layer, so you can peel one of the layers and eat the inside, and as well you can put labels between the 2 layers. Where we want this to happen? I suppose none of you know how to make a plastic bottle, neither I am. You don't have any facilities to make a plastic bottle, but you can have a facilities if you have a kitchen to make Oohos. So we want to happen this kind of revolution in the kitchen. So what we did is we put this project as Creative Commons, so everyone can make their own packaging at home. We start to do different workshops and different experience with different ages and kids. This is a big one. And what we did is we put online a video with the recipe, and a lot of people respond to it quite good. So these are videos of other recipes that we didn't do, so the people start to improve the recipe. So I think This video have over 4 million views in YouTube. They show a different recipe that we do. I think this is the major show in Japan. So they show the people in Japan how to make O's. What else? This is a big show in Germany, I think. So it was good as well, how kind of like the idea went, and the people start to do it with different liquids as well. We got some funding recently, and that helped us to, because I'm doing this with Pierre and Guillaume. They are two friends. They are engineers. Before they were working in plastic packaging. And, but none of us have a really chemical expertise. So we have some funding from Climate Kick. And they help us to put together a team of chemical engineers. So this is Maria Salomon. She's Mexican. She works in London with us. We are based in London. And she's really a good expert in membranes, and she's leading the team that we are working together to develop this. We start to do some events and kind of like plastic-free things like marathons. Maybe for next PINC, it could be good to have them for advertiser. At the moment, we are working in Imperial College London, and we have 160 undergraduate students of chemistry working on it. So trying to verify all the properties and all the, here they are measuring the diffusion of the different O's. And we are looking as well into manufacturing. This is not one of the machines that we have, but this is a machine of making paintballs for these games that is quite similar in the way that we are going to mass produce it. We are looking as well on how to collect and working with producers of seaweed. The ones that we get are from Norway. And for me, it was quite shocking when they told me that this seaweed was growing up to 3 meters per day. So it was quite shocking. It was magic. When we are going to see this on the market, let's say like that, I think still a bit of like a research and development to go to make it a commercial scale. You all can do it today if you want it in your kitchen. But if you compare it with plastic, and if you think like, for example, 100 years ago that you can contain your water into oil, probably you will think that's impossible, right? But nowadays we have this kind of packaging that with a lot of science and a lot of engineering, you can have, for example, this is a plastic bottle that it seems quite simple. It's plastic, but it has 7 different layers of plastic to protect the ketchup to the air. So there is a lot of like science and research behind that. We think we are probably at the beginning of something. There is some moves from cities, for example, that they are going to go plastic-free. So I hope that could help us a bit to move the project forward. Like San Francisco is banning the plastic bottles. And we are always kind of like trying to see O in a system as fruit. So probably you buy it not to keep it on the shelf for many years. You just buy it to kind of like consume it in a couple of weeks. And yeah, but I think my main takeaway message of today is like if we come back to the impossibles, is that you don't need to, I'm sure all of you are doing quite really interesting stuff and trying to push forward the boundaries of reality. And for me, that's kind of like magic. So you don't need to be a magician to make magic. And what we have seen today was quite magical. So probably next time, instead of PINC, you can add people, ideas, creativity, nature, and magic. PINC. Thank you very much.